This is my Wild Magic Barbarian build. As always, we're going to go level 1 to 12, and we're going to have a combat tutorial, and I'll even have some items for you. So first up, we start level 1 with a Barbarian, and this is how you want your ability points. You want 16 Strength, 16 Dex, 14 Con, and then when it comes to your Intelligence, your Wisdom, and your Charisma, I would have 10, 10, 8 in any order that you want. So if you want 10 Charisma and only 8 Intelligence, move them around that way. And same with your skill proficiencies, take whatever you like. Now Barbarians are one of the simplest classes to level up, as you'll see in a second, but at level 2 we unlock Danger Sense. So you have advantage on Dexterity saving throws against traps, spells and surfaces, and Reckless Attack. Until your next turn, you have advantage on attack rolls, but enemies also have advantage against you. Powerful stuff. And as I said, so easy to level up, that is it. Now this brings us very nicely to Barbarian level 3, where we get to pick our specialization and of course Wild Magic. So this gives us our Rage of Wild Magic, but it also gives us Magic Awareness. Anyone within range has the proficiency bonus to saving throws against spells. This is a bonus action and it is so helpful. Now as we go into Barbarian level 4, we have access to our first feat and of course Great Weapon Master. When you land a critical hit, or kill a target with a melee weapon attack, you can make another melee weapon attack as a bonus action that turn. Attacks with melee weapons you're proficient with and are wielded in both hands can deal an additional 10 damage at the cost of a -5 attack penalty. So this basically means you can turn a toggle on where you'll take 5 less to hit, but deal a solid 10 extra damage. And if you can couple this with things like Hold Monster, Hold Person, really powerful feat. This brings us to Barbarian level 5, and we have access to extra attack, which now means if we take the attack action, we can make 2 attacks per round, and fast movement. So, movement speed increased by 3 meters while not wearing heavy armor. Barbarian level 6, and this is where we get some fun stuff. We get Bolstering Magic. So, boon. You or an ally receive a plus 1d4 bonus to attack rolls and ability checks. Now this is a action, so this would interrupt your attacking, so just bear that in mind. We also have you and an ally recover a level 1 spell slot and a level 2 spell slot, and these are amazing if you have a wizard or a sorcerer in your party. Throwing these on, using these as an action outside of combat or inside combat if you're really stuck, can really be a game changer. Okay, Barbarian level 7, Feral Instinct. You've honed your instincts to the utmost degree. You gain a plus 3 bonus to initiative and can't be surprised. Okay, Barbarian level 8, and again we have access to another feat, and for this one we are taking Savage Attacker, one of my favourite feats in the game. When making melee weapon attacks, you roll your damage dice twice and use the highest result. And considering we're doing 2 melee weapon attacks per round, really good stuff. Barbarian level 9, we have Brutal Critical. You've trained to strike swift and true. When you land a critical hit, you roll an extra damage die, as well as a normal additional critical die. Now what makes this really powerful is we can pair this with one of our items, the Killer's Sweetheart Ring, which guarantees a crit when you kill an enemy. So couple that with this and you could be dealing some huge guaranteed damage. And of course we get Bolstering Magic level 3 spell slot, so we can cause an ally to recover a level 3 spell slot, and this is great because there's so many good level 3 spells, things like haste and whatnot. Really good way of just having an extra one of those in your party. Okay, Barbarian level 10, and we have Unstable Backlash. While enraged, when you take damage or fail a saving throw, you trigger another wild magic effect that replaces the current one. This can be both good and bad. You could end up with something really bad or something even better than what you currently have. It is a wild card. As we go into Barbarian level 11, we get Relentless Rage. Once per short rest, if you drop to 0 hit points while enraged, you regain 1 hit point instead of being. This is exactly like the Half Walk ability, so this is a nice way of getting that from this. And then finally, Barbarian level 12, we now have an additional Rage Charge and access to a new feat. And for this one, we're going to take the ASI. We're actually going to bump our Dex up, as you'll see why. Okay, so that is our build levels 1 to 12. Now let's go over some items. Now, I'm going to be very real with you guys. Ideally, most of the equipment you want from this is from doing the House of Hope, which is the Raphael quest in Act 3. That is going to be the bulk of your endgame stuff. This build is all designed around taking the Gauntlets of Hill Giant Strength, which is why we didn't buff our strength up with our ASIs. So my opinion would be to use your ASIs for now to boost your strength to 20. I would probably keep Savage Attacker and use the other 2 ASIs to bump your strength up. or use potions like the Hill Giant Strength Potion and whatnot. And then once you've done the House of Hope, your equipment wants to be the Gauntlets of Hill Giant Strength and the Helldusk Armor. That is your main equipment. What I'm going to do, because I am not at that point in the game, I'm in Early Act 3, I'm going to show you some alternatives you can take. Now, some of these I would also leave on in general. So to start, the Bone Spike Helmet, I would have this helmet regardless. Fury in the Marrow. When you rage, hostile creatures in a 3-meter radius must succeed a Wisdom saving throw or take 2 to 8 psychic damage. I think this is really good because it's the flavour of raging and having that wild magic inside you that it damages creatures around you. I think thematically fits amazingly. The Flesh Melter Cloak. Whenever a creature deals melee damage to the wearer, that creature takes 1 to 4 acid damage. Again, this is another cloak I would wear regardless. This is a full build item. Now, as I said, for the boots, for the armor, and for the gloves, you really want the Helldusk armor. It's the best armor in the game, and it's so good. For the gloves, you want the Gauntlets of Hill Giant Strength. This will boost your strength up to 23. But if you are not at that point yet, I would take the Legacy of Masters. Gain a +2 bonus to attack and damage rolls with weapons. I would take the Disintegrating Nightwalkers. You cannot be enwebbed, entangled, or ensnared, can't slip on grease or ice, and have access to Misty Step. I'll take the UNT Scale Mail. So this allows you to add your Dexterity modifier to your armor class and does not impose disadvantage on stealth checks, and you get a +1 bonus to initiative rolls. Now, Endgame, I would take Ring of Regeneration, 1 to 4 hit points at the beginning of every turn. Keep this regardless, and this pairs very nicely with our sword. The Killer's Sweetheart, I mentioned this before, but when you kill a creature, your next attack roll is a critical hit. This rounds off the build very, very nicely. The Amulet of Baal. On a hit, inflict bleeding upon a target that have a maximum hit points. Now you could take this, or you could take the Amulet of Greater Health. Again, sank in the House of Hope. There's also the Surgeon's Amulet, which I believe I have down here somewhere. And this is if you hit an enemy, or sorry, if you score a critical hit, you paralyze the target. I believe it's this one here. Yeah, once per long rest, when scoring a critical hit on a humanoid, you can paralyze the target. Again, a really good option, but I think overall, if you don't have the Amulet of Greater Health, I think the Amulet Ball, you get more of it long term because there's no once and then you need to long rest. Now for a sword, a lot of people will say Balduran's Giant Slayer. Again, I do think that's a good sword to use. I personally like the Sword of Chaos. 10 to 23 damage, and on a hit, you regain 1 to 6 hit points. So between this and the ring, every round you could regain a maximum of 10 hit points. And to round the build off, the Deadshot. Now, the reason I'm taking this is the number you need to roll a critical hit is reduced by 1, and this works with all your weapons, so you're not limited to using the bow. It also allows you to add your proficiency bonus when rolling ranged attacks with this weapon. Again, not amazing. You probably won't be using this too much if you're a barbarian, but having that lower critical rate is really good. And there's the Sword of Chaos. Now let's go find some combat, and I'll show you how easy and simple this build is to do. And as you can see, in the initiative order, Karlach, our barbarian, and our rogue have the same, thanks to all our little initiative boosts. Alright, as I said, we can rage as our bonus action. This is the first thing to start with. Now, fortunately, they save the rage. And there you go, we have our first Wild Surge. So, we now have difficult terrain for everyone to move through apart from us. And we can begin smacking as hard as we can. Now remember, the damage output you would see would be higher if we had the Gauntlets of Hill Giant Strength. Because we don't, we are going to be a bit more limited in our damage output, but it would be higher if you have those items. And there you go, we did, I think it was 62 damage across 2 attacks, and we healed both turns.
Covered.
Now, we could do Unstable Backlash if we choose to, because we just took an attack, so let's do that. And there you go, we got another Vine Growth, so the same one. And as you saw there, you saw the difficult terrain they're trying to walk through. Alright, now, a few options we have once again. We could turn on Great Weapon Master. Okay, Great Weapon Master is on, and we have a 91% chance to hit, which means our damage is going to be even higher than before. And thanks to the Killer's Sweetheart, a guaranteed crit. So let's see our huge damage output here. Thanks to the executioner, and there you go, we did a bulk load. And now, thankfully, we get a standard attack as a follow-up. And that really is the gist of this attack. We also can do great weapon bonus action. So we hit this, and we can do that because we landed the critical. And what you've noticed just then is that the difficult terrain actually follows our barbarian around. So, as you see, if we close the distance here, the enemy is now within our difficult terrain, which is a really nice feature how it follows you around. And there was an example of our reckless attack, and we continue to see healing. So as you'll notice, we have, even though we've taken some hits, we have full hit points again. And there you go, in 2 attacks we've almost taken out an entire enemy. And this should be the kill shot. Just like that. And that really is as easy and powerful as this build is. It's a really fun one. The wild surges are amazing. I wish we kind of saw more of them than we did. But it's such a good build, equipped with the items, and especially if you can get the Gauntlets of the Hill Giant Strength and the Helldusk Armor and the Amulet of the Hill Giant, the Amulet of Greater Health from the House of Hope. And maybe play around with Baldur Giant Slayer if you like it. I personally like the Sword of Chaos more. But overall, such a fun build, really powerful, and so easy to do. It's a great beginner build, it's a great build to look at multi-classing with. It's just a lot of fun in general. So if you've enjoyed, please drop the episode a like, it helps me amazingly. Let me know in the comments what you would change or what other items you'd use, etc. If you're new and you haven't subscribed but you'd like to, that would also be amazing, and hopefully I will see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.